absolute privilege for me to host this panel here. Thank you very much for coming in, and each one of them have their own potential and have experience to bring in a lot of value to your own thoughts about how the future of skills can be and how we build our workforce for tomorrow. So when we are discussing about these few points, what comes to my mind as a moderator is that we cannot go ahead without looking at the current key USP which we enjoy as a country is the demographic dividend. We need to understand this, and we need to have the potential of this particular demographic dividend that can bring us onto the table of this country. If we don't address this with proper thoughts and proper implementation, it will not be a potential, it will become a challenge for us. I would love to just introduce a little bit about the panel. Everybody is an expert in their own field, and it is a beautiful, perfect blend here. We have two panelists who are in the empowering professionals with upskilling. We have Ripple's Learning, Animesh is there, and Mr. Deshikamani is there from Mentor Learning. Both of them will continue. You've spoken about something called lifelong learning and continuous learning. They will definitely be, they are managing some platforms which are built in with such fundamentals in them. And we also have with Nitin, that's the alignment of government towards how we, the policy, how we bring in things to the table of this country's youth to ensure that the upskilling happens. And we are prepared for the world with world of skills or skill of world out here. And I have my good friend Joshua. He spends his time, forget about what he does with emphasis, but what he does to the ecosystem is that he travels from Kashmir to Kanyakumari and Maharashtra to Mizoram. Whether they recruit from that college or not, he goes there to talk about few things to the engineers that are graduating from those schools. What is fundamentally required to bring in value to their career and how they build their career. These are two things that he does very sincerely. And when I got the first opportunity to suggest a panelist, I suggested his name, and I'm sure he will definitely do justice to what he has been doing across the country till today here also. The first thing that I would love to understand from you is, with your own experience leading your own organizations, how are you looking at the skills for growth and building the workforce for tomorrow? Let's start from because everybody is left shifting, and at universities we are facing this left shift. Many organizations talk about giving their training period of the employee, the first fresh talent hires to the colleges. We are embedding that left shift into our own organizations. So I'll start from the left. Sir, Deshikamani sir, your thoughts on this thing?
Namaste, and it's wonderful to connect with all of you. Thank you, Shastri Garu. I trained as a metallurgist. I worked with materials for 12 years.
Before coming in here, he said one statement there. How much ever GPUs you have, whatever GPUs you have contributing to the AI, it has to sit on a steel plate. That's what he was telling me.
So I trained as a metallurgist, and I worked happily with materials for about 12 years. I found life in them. Whoever thinks materials are inanimate, they are stupid. Materials change in properties. They respond to environments and change in properties. So that's what inspired me to wonder, why can't I engineer properties of people? That's how I moved into behavior science. One of the remarkable things I've noticed about learning, training, whether it's in the corporation or in schools, is that it's approached like prayer. You do it and hope something happens. So that was anathema to me. As an engineer at heart, I wanted to engineer learning. Okay, so creating environments that allow people to transform is the work that we do. The other important element in skilling people is knowledge is reading, comprehending, and recalling. But skill is not that. Skill is practice, objective feedback, and recycle. So the approach has to be completely different. So the work that we do predominantly is learning engineering. And skilling means you need to create environments and you need to allow people to do and get feedback. So bringing this form of learning is predominantly the work that we've been doing at Mentor. In fact, mentor is often seen as an English word. A lot of us use the word mentor almost as a replacement to coach, teacher, advisor, all of that. Mentor is actually a character in Homer's Odyssey. So the story is interesting. King Odysseus' son Telemachus needed protection. And Odysseus had entrusted his friend Mentor, who apparently was a half male, half female person, transgender person, the responsibility of taking care of this boy. And goddess Athena, the combination of Durga and Saraswati in Greek mythology, okay, valor and wisdom, Athena decided to transformatively, improve or protect or skill Telemachus. So she got into the body of Mentor and allowed him to transform without being intrusive. So Mentor is about transforming without being intrusive, allowing people to evolve and transform. That's the work that we've been doing. And skilling is impossible. Skilling is impossible unless you allow people to fail. You have to let people fail safely. That's what the work is all about. And I've realized in the 28 years of work that I have done, the most difficult thing to do in organizations as well as educational institutions is to create a psychologically safe environment where people are happy to fail. Yeah, so that's the work we do. Thank you.
Thank you for giving that engineering learning and giving us a perspective of what a mentor is all about. And failing safely. I think Government of India, by setting up all those incubators in our own institutions, academic institutions, is encouraging the next generation to fail safely in the safe hands so that they can go to the next venture and build up themselves. Thank you, sir. Now I'll go to my right side once and then come back to the left. Right side, I think, Animesh, you already set the good context. I would love to understand from you how Ripple's learning is existing and how it is taking up the space of skills for growth.
Right. So before I talk about Ripple's learning, I think it's very important that I mention money. Money runs mentor learning, and my co-founder Abhishek and CEO was working with money in mentors learning, and I think that is where the idea of Ripple's learning was born. So not to the meaning that he said, but to the meaning that we all know. He has actually mentored great organizations and great trainers, and thank you so much. And I'm so proud to be part of the same panel as yours, Money. Right? I think Ripples has been exceptional in terms of what it works, and the reason is the word research. Right? I think Indian organizations don't research. We don't invest in creating models. We don't invest in creating frameworks. We largely are happy with models and frameworks that exist in the world, and we learn from them and we teach them fantastically well, right? I think the need of the hour is that we have enough depth as a civilization that we are in to bring in and to be an authority in skilling in the world, create models, frameworks that emanate out of us, the diversity that we have, the thought process that we have. And I think Ripples largely has done that in last 17, 18 years of work. We have come up with our own leadership model called Kalp, Vikalp, Sankalp, Chanakya Niti, a lot of other things. We are aiming at bringing research on the forefront. White papers are one of the areas. We have a robust competency framework. We have 8 competency headers, 35 competency indicators. We have more than 35 competency areas and 900 competency indicators with well-defined overutilization, underutilization, which makes the process of skilling very, very tangible. We were the first one to also come up with a Kirkpatrick L3 training effectiveness tool called Results Lab. We have something called Ripple's Journey, which is being launched in this conference, which is about 360-degree feedback, and it's free for all of you to take, so you can approach the desk there and you can do that. So it's about creation. The idea of what Ripples has done is thrown that stone of creation in the world with research, backed with information, backed with data. And that is what we want to do. We want to skill people based on models that would work for India, that would work India to the world, right? And largely, I would probably, because I've already spoken as a keynote, I think that's largely is what I would want to speak about. Thank you.
Yes, thank you for that. Enlightening us on different thought process which you have in Ripples. Sir, Nitin sir, at NSDC, you have a large responsibility and a vision of Vikasit Bharat by 2047. And how are you aligning yourselves with these goals which you are set in, and what are your thoughts on skills for growth?
Thank you, Namaskar. First to have everyone on the same page to understand what is NSDC and how is it placed in the larger scheme of things. So, National Skill Development Corporation is the principal architect of the entire skilling universe, if I put it that way. We are very consciously designed as a public-private partnership. So we work very closely with the government, but we don't sit inside the government. And so the government is the largest stakeholder, but they are not the majority stakeholder. And that makes us very unique in our composition, bringing both the private and the public sector together, the academia, the industry, the EdTech and the skill partners, everyone together. So in our role as the principal architect, we call ourselves the enabler. We are making sure that there is a table, there is a room which can get all stakeholders together. If we look across this room, we will find a lot of people doing a lot of interesting things, a lot of innovative aspects, but somewhere in their hearts, they're all waiting for the one sitting left or right to them to take the first step. And that is where we are stepping in, saying if it has to be done, it has to be done together, and it has to start down. By the time you decide, I have aced a future skill, that skill's gone to the past. Skilling is no longer a luxury. It's a necessity in our lives today. Some of us who are from my generation, and my younger colleagues will probably can pick that up from their parents or elders. There used to be a subject called SUPW in our education system. Kahan disappear hua, where did it go? I don't know, maybe hardcore academicians in the room can answer. And today, interestingly, all of us are trying to bring it back. The whole idea was that skill was never about replacing or overpowering. It was always about complementing your own preparedness and readiness for the world which was there in front of you. Today, a lot of us have been talking about it. And AI, of course, in Delhi we have an ice cream brand called Nirula's. If some of you can Google search it, it's very popular for saying flavor of the month. So AI for me has actually become the flavor of the month. Every time and again something new or the other keeps coming up. But is AI going to really replace us? The answer is no. But it will start
to replace those who have not upskilled themselves, and that is what will happen. So one of your colleagues who's upskilling himself will start to really lead in that race to the next point. It's almost like, when Industrial Revolution happened, this is almost like the intelligence revolution era. It's all about saying, how ready are we? So what can NSDC do right now? Everyone, if you pick up your phones, there is a platform called SID as in proficiency. It's an acronym. It's called Skill India Digital Hub. You can actually download it. You will realize how the biggest skilling ecosystem or marketplace is operating right now. Some of you would even be surprised that your own organizations are already on it and participating and contributing. And like I said, we are enablers. So say, for example, Mentor or Rippling, our whole conscious effort is we are not entering the last mile. If we were to try to enter last mile, we would be 10,000 people in next 3 months, and probably even a lakh of people would be less by the time the year ends. We are always on the lookout for partners who bring in that expertise, who know the geolocation well, who know that subject that we are wanting to work on, and we bring all of them together. Because unlike some of the business interest, for us, it's boundaryless. It's not about a certain course. It's not about a certain stream. It's not about a certain geolocation. For us, it's pan-India. It's about the science engineering students. It's about the law graduate. It's about the blue-collar worker. It's about those who desire for an international mobility. So NSDC today is working in a very larger ecosystem. And I'll hand it over, keeping in mind time. But only one point I want to reiterate. If we all are keen, and I know we are keen, that's why we are all here in the room, as I see a packed room, the only way forward is together, and it's now.
Thank you for that. Now, this panel, whatever you feel comfortable, because we don't want to quote anything from AI, we don't want to quote anything from the research that is being done. We want to first-hand experiences to be spoken here. Please go ahead. Mic is yours for the next 5 minutes.
Thank you, Professor. Thanks to CHRMP and SRM, Dr. Aggie, Professor Shastri, and Dr. Ratnavel for this wonderful invite, and to all the ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon, vanakkam. Thanks for this opportunity to talk about what we do and as an organization what we do to inculcate skills. And the future of work is definitely not tomorrow and not today even, it's actually yesterday. And we've been talking about this for quite some time, this topic of the skilling the gap, and what do we do for the youngsters and for the young generation to upskill their skills in the future generations. So what I normally do, thanks to Professor Shastri for that wonderful introduction, Kanyakumari to Kashmir and Maharashtra, Mizoram, I don't bother whether I hire or whether I get people from those institutions, but I normally go to them and talk about 2 to 3 basic understandings of your fundamentals and foundation makes a lot of differentiator. Today, a lot of technology come in, they go for, but when you understand what is your basics and understand your foundation and your fundamentals, that will take you a long way. Very rightly, Animesh put across your 4 years determines your 40 years of your career. If your 4 years determines what you are at the end of the day, because as stated by a lot of people, we are going to repeat a lot of terminologies here, your 4 years is going to determine what you are in the industry you work for. That is more important. And we're also part of a lot of board of studies, tell them, hey guys, you need to really pick up on this emerging technologies, your digital skills all put together, and that is the way forward at the end of the day. Not only your basics, but also your emerging technologies and digital skills makes a long way forward. Now what my organization does is, I represent Emphasis, I work as a head of campus for that organization. So the first and the foremost thing is, instead of we only talk about guest lectures, motivational sessions, we also talk about mentorships. Now, what is that mentorship is all about? Taking a lot of technical guest lectures to the colleges. We also sign a lot of MOUs with them in terms of taking FTPs, faculty development programs, train the trainers, because that is the need of the hour. Because today we talk about augmented reality, quantum computing. We also signed up with IIT Madras and working a lot of stuff with quantum computing technologies to the front. So we also bring all those technical aspects to the college and tell them, hey guys, these are the latest technologies where you need to really work on. That is one. We also sponsor and give grants to most needed colleges in where the students also get to know about the latest technologies, what they wanted to do at the end of the day. And going forward, this term has really taken us to the next level is the internships, what we do in the industry. What we thought is Satish is not there here. Before he quit Emphasis, we all sat together and told the management that, hey guys, whoever we are going to onboard in the organization, we are going to put them through an internship process so that they understand what skilling is all about even before they join the organization. So that is more important. I also wanted to quote respected Tesigamani sir, what he quoted in LinkedIn is skills are the currency for productivity. Wow, that's really touched the way we look at. Thank you so much, sir. I will use that quote wherever I go, with your permission. The moment I saw that, I just thought, wow, that's the need of the art. So every step, Professor, every step, then and there, we tell guys, cope up. That's the cure you're talking about, right? From the morning, cross-skilling, upskilling, reskilling, and empowering the workforce. That's the need of the hour. And as a group, as an academicians, as industry, AI is my definition. What I learned from a lot of leaders is academia and industry put their hands together is AI, nothing but. It's not artificial intelligence, it's all about we connect together and bring the next set of workforce together. So collectively we are giving inclusivity, innovative and productive workforce to the future. Professor.
Thank you, Joshua. What I understood is technology consumes technology, but we still be there. Currency, skills are the currency. Thank you, sir. We have done enough research about each one of us, because initially when we decided to talk about this, there are a lot of content available everywhere. Let's not throw from that content. Let's use personal experiences to talk about. Sir, I'll be a little selfish here. As I said, we are workforce providers. We are being educators side of it. So one last piece of advice before we move out of this dais. Each one of you, one word or two words.
See, AI comes from I. I hope all of us are conscious of the fact that AI comes from I. So I remember reading this book by Ken Richardson on making of intelligence. I want to remind all of you that intelligence is not knowledge. Intelligence is defined as response to stimulus. We forget that. So if you want to help people respond to stimuli well, I think it's very important for us to change two things. Number one, democratize learning. When I say democratize learning, help people diagnose what they need to learn, allow them to take ownership for that, and provide them options and gamify the whole experience. I think this is what L&D function should do, number one. Number two, this is more pointed to academic environments. One of the biggest disasters in our country today is the classroom. I remember a professor that we had who taught us material science brilliantly. He'll come and throw a broken axle of an auto rickshaw in the classroom, and he'll divide us into two groups, and he'll tell us, take the next 5 days, all my labs are available for you. Come back and argue. One group will argue that the axle broke because of the abuse by the auto rickshaw driver, and another group came and argued that it was a manufacturing defect. He did not need to teach us any bit of theory, and I'm talking about pre-internet era. We all had to go to libraries, we all had to go to laboratories, but we worked hard to come back and learn and argue. So I'll go back to what Animesh said. We don't need to give people knowledge. It's stupid. I think the classroom has to change to help people solve whatever problems they feel like solving for the world. I think that is the most important thing. Make the classroom fail-safe, allow people to interact and engage happily. That's all I have for it.
For us, it's about scale, impact, and inclusiveness. So I'll just build on one of this piece. As part of my role, I travel a lot. I get invited to sometimes visit what my host is calling as the most path-breaking initiative and idea. And I'll give you without naming because that's not important, where we get lost in that whole idea. So we go through an academic facility, we go through the whole process, we understand and appreciate the methodology, the pedagogy, and then they say, oh, we also have a great incubation place and we would want you to have a look. And when we step in, and as you are looking around, they will suddenly give you the curriculum for that place. And that's where they lose us. Because if that lab and that incubation place has a curriculum which is saying what will everybody do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I'll rest my case there.
Academicians need to pick that up from that point. That's one. Two, please look at academia industry collaboration in its spirit and not a brand that you will be able to put on your admission
welcome brochure. Please look at the actual spirit of that partnership. Let's go beyond. And that's where we will step in and support. The reason I said look at SID, we don't have time to really deep dive. I'll be more than happy if anyone's keen to understand more what we are doing. But please reach out. We will be more than happy to help facilitate those partnerships. And third, and the last one, please keep in mind that if we want to make a change, and especially at an undergrad level and a K-12 level, parents by default continue to be the biggest influencers. They are the ones who are funding that education till that level. Please involve them in these awareness camps and don't stop it only to your students. Let parents know there is more beyond the 5 jobs they knew when they were studying. That is the only way you'll be able to open it up. Otherwise, we will keep going in the same circles, round and round. At NSDC, we are taking that step to reimagine education, and we welcome all of you to join us.
So I think one piece of advice that probably I would like to give is to have a creator's mindset. As professionals, individuals, organizations, it's important we have a creator's mindset. It's extremely important because we take pride in talking about India as a service-driven nation. We provide service to the world. We are now looking at being a manufacturing hub. But the true growth of the country, true growth of us as individuals, as professionals, as industry will happen when we create. The best of ideas are not what we are creating. The best of frameworks is not what we are creating. I think it's important that we have a creator's mindset. I think the first step to it is by solving problems, because when you solve a problem, you create a solution. And that is what my advice would be for everyone. Yeah.
Okay, Professor, if you're selfish, we are also selfish in some way. Let me just quote 2 pointers out of the box, maybe a quickie story. To quote that, me and my wife are globetrotters. We travel across the world. And one such situation, when we were in summers in London, we were in one of the trams, and there were guys who were not behaving properly. They were literally creating nuisance to the crowd who were traveling there. And predominantly me and my wife speak English wherever we go, and one of the co-passengers was politely listening to us, and after those guys left that station, he came in front of us and he asked, can I bother you folks? I just told, why not? He just listened to whatever we were speaking for that 5 minutes, and he was just telling, I just heard what you people spoke, and this is my piece of advice. I represent one of the universities in London and one of the professors there. So what we started doing is, if your class is for 30 to 40 minutes, the last 5 minutes is for the students and for you. And let's talk about mental wellness and physical well-being. That really touched a lot, because today we are talking about technology, we are talking about AI and so on and so forth things, but we are not talking about mental wellness and physical well-being. So let's start doing that. That's the first. Second piece of advice I would say is, let's talk about adaptability more than emotional and intelligent quotient. Today, I was just talking to Satish in the meantime. We have started those internships, and a lot of students wanted, I want to be in Bangalore, I want to be in Chennai, I want to be in this technology, I want to be that technology. No, let's be adaptable. Let's start that quotient more than anything else from the school, from the colleges. And the last most important thing is, we are all westernized. We all forget our tradition, culture, heritage at the end of the day. Professor, I think from the college, let's start that way of language, that way of design, that way of thinking going forward. Technology will come and go, AI will come and go. Tomorrow somebody will talk about DeepSeek, somebody will talk about, if that A of the first alphabet is not taken care, I don't think so we are going to talk about the rest of the 25. Thank you so much.
Democratized learning, gamification, experiential learning, scale, parent awareness, creators mindset, problem solving, mental and physical well-being, and adaptability. There are a few keywords. Please keep looking for them, and you will get your solutions to future of skill. Thank you very much for giving us this opportunity. Thank you, friends, for being a good panel for me, making me ask less questions and more answers. Thank you so much. All the very best to all of us.